Rightio, let's get into some respiration. Let's stick to blue. I'm in a blue mood. The Calvin cycle is a stage of photosynthesis during which carbon dioxide is fixed. The Calvin cycle uses the products of the light-dependent stage. Name the products of the light-dependent stage that are used in the Calvin cycle. And we've got 2 marks. So let's have a look. If you've not thinking of ATP, you're probably doing a GCSE in biology. Right, that's a little bit cheeky. The first thing, ATP. You've got to think of ATP. Now, where students make errors is they may not, or they may write NAD or NADH. It cannot be NAD. It must be NADP. Right, this is photosynthesis, it's NADP. This P is essential for these 2 marks. If you write, actually I do this, I'll switch to red. If you actually write the following answer, if you get your ATP, you've written that down as your answer and you write NADH, you'll get 1 mark for the ATP and minus 1 mark for NADH. You'll end up with a big 0 even though you've got the ATP wrong. So careful on this one. It is NADP. NADPH. Let's go back to blue. Okay. Discuss the fate of triose phosphate in the Calvin cycle. Okay. Let's have a look at this. Triose phosphate TP. Okay. The first thing you want to write, we've got 3 marks. Triose phosphate, if you remember the Calvin cycle, goes round and round and round and round in a big circle and it regenerates. So first thing we want to talk about is that it regenerates in the Calvin cycle. And it produces ribulose bisphosphate. So because it regenerates, because it produces ribulose bisphosphate, the cycle goes, so the cycle can continue. Cycle continues because of its, as I keep saying, this the regeneration cycle continues for more CO2 to be fixed. CO2 to be fixed. Okay, there's my 2nd mark. Okay, we can then turn around and say, well, what is the fate of triose phosphate? Yes, some of it regenerates. It continues the cycle for more CO2 fixation, but some goes off to form other things like we could say glucose, hexose. Okay, that was me making a silly sound. Starch, cellulose. We can mention any of these, and that's my 3 marks. We could also move away from the carbos. So instead of talking about the sugars here and cellulose, we could also talk about, well, it can also go off to form lipids, fatty acids, amino acids. That's right, amino acids. The reason you're going to get 2 separate marks for this is these are the idea that photosynthesis produces these sugars is quite an obvious one. So you get 1 mark for that, and for you to also think that it might produce these lipids or fatty acids, that's a little bit beyond that. So yeah, well, let's go back to just up to here. It regenerates and produces ribulose bisphosphate. Let's leave it at that. But 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Yeah, let's leave it at that.